It's so fun to see who's going to pop up. I can't see it. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thanks for being here today.
Sure, because I was bullied mercilessly as a middle schooler. So I pushed all that down. And as women, we push all the stuff down to the bottom. So I help people uncover that so that they can experience profound joy, learn to love themselves, and understand that they're worth it.
Wow. As you're talking, I'm just keep going back to our discovery call because it doesn't feel like that long ago. When was that?
Yeah, we had a discovery call in January.
Okay.
I'm different.
We're very different today. That's amazing. You know, you can't tell people's change if you're with them all the time. You know, it's so subtle, but it's just moments like this I can see the difference. Okay, tell everybody. Okay, so January came in. What were you like and what was going on in January and how are you different today?
In January, well, part of this came about was because I was trying to figure out what to do as a career because I was in an auto accident almost 3 years ago, and it took me away from my first career, which was so I was like, what am I going to do? I'm too young to not do something. And I know I have gifts and talents. I just don't know what to do with them. And a friend of mine who's on this call, Leona, who talked, she actually told me about the 5-day challenge. And I said, okay, why not? I'll try it. And so I did, and I got on and I'm like, oh, this is kind of speaking to me. Ooh. Oh, okay. Okay.
So we ended up on a discovery call together, and then we ended up on another discovery call together, which was awesome because after that I could tell we were both on the same page.
Well, the second discovery call was interesting because that one was all about my husband. Because at the time he was the only one bringing in an income, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money. What am I going to do? So I talked to him and he goes, I don't know, I got to talk to her first. And guys, I got to tell you, she handled every one of my very analytical husband's questions like a dream. So
the truth, it's easy.
But she never got overwhelmed or anything, and he just pummeled her with questions. Believe me, he had a list, a big yellow notepad list.
He's awesome. I love it. It really helps me get clear. It's very important. I like those opportunities. Yeah. If I don't know, then I need to figure it out because I want to be as clear as possible. Okay. Yeah. Okay, good. So you went through the certification part of the program. Do you feel like you are a confident coach?
Oh gosh, yes. I feel like I could take on anybody right now. I didn't even know what a life coach did. So that that first part of certification really helped me with practicing with my, with the other women in it. And building community that way, which was amazing because it was a safe space for me to learn, and that was important.
Yes. Okay. So, now you're in business. Oh, you go.
And I got rid of a lot more of my stuff. I had a lot more onion to peel back, so that was good.
You bring up a good point. When you're in certification, you not only give practice sessions to other students, but you get sessions, and we work on our real stuff. So we're working on ourselves as we become excellent practitioners.
Yeah, and that's important because you really can't go out and help other people until you've gotten a lot of the stuff out of you, because people are going to say things that are going to resonate with what you've been through. And if you're stuck there, you're not going to know what to do. But once you're in the healing process and you can say, okay, this is what I did for myself, so I'm going to try it with them. And it was amazing.
That's so good. Okay, now you're in business building. What's going on there? What have you learned, or where are you at? Or share your experience.
Okay, so I was a wreck going into business building because I am not a techie and I've never owned my own business. And I'm like, what am I going to do? But the calls on Thursdays and the modules and the help with, from Maria and even some of my the other women who are in it, because we help each other too. It's made a huge difference, and it's made me more confident. I mean, at one point you would have never caught me going live or doing a reel on any social media because that's not who I am. That's not who I ever was. And now I feel like I could just go on and talk about anything that I offer or anything, or even bigger, talk about all of my crap that I had to unload and not feel like people will see me as a bad person. They'll be like, oh, wow, you know, if she did it, maybe I can do it too. And I think that that's the biggest part of this, is being vulnerable. And I've had to be vulnerable since day one of the program. So,
you know, if you show up at, like, it's just a small group of people, we know how everybody's doing, right? So
exactly. And you know, the other thing I have to say about the safe space, Michelle, that I think is so important, I've developed friendships with some of these women outside of here where we just Zoom for the heck of it outside of this and talk about what we're doing and how we're feeling, and throw things back and forth through text messages to one another. So, I mean, I found a tribe within, which is, I've never had a best girlfriend, and I've always shied away from women because of my past experience with women. So that was huge for me.
wow, that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
it. Good. I feel like we have a really solid bubble of great women, with
We do.
heart-centered women. So
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, if someone's on the fence, what would you say?
If you're on the fence, it's your ego. And your ego is there, it's trying to protect you. And what you got to do is you got to go deeper inside and say, get in the chair next to me, because you're not welcome right now, because my soul needs to talk. It's our ego that does all that stuff. And it's important to realize that our ego's not bad. It's just there to protect us. And so, and you know, for a lot of us, it's been protecting me for what, 53 years. So, you know, I mean, it's time to put it on the chair and say, you can come back when I need you, but right now I need to let my soul talk, and I need to let my heart's desire come out. Because you know, if you have that feeling.
Yeah, that's so good. I've got another question that just popped in my head. Since I know your husband, because I got that opportunity to talk to him. Has he seen a change in you since you've been?
Oh my gosh. He says every day, he goes, you are not the same woman. And jokingly, he said, we found this earlier on, so you could have, you know, actually taken my compliments. Because for the longest time, my husband's a fixer. He's really sensitive. He's a fixer. So for the longest time, he would compliment me, and I would just listen, but I'd walk away and I never smiled. And now, bring on the compliments, baby. I will take them. And I've had friends say to me, you got kind of weird. And I'm like, what do you mean I got weird? They're like, you're so much more confident, like you have an opinion.
That's fascinating. And how do you like that life, Paula, of confidence, whatever, doing your thing?
I like this because I'm not afraid to tell people anymore. I mean, I've done my sessions so far mostly in person.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because everything else we've done has been through Zoom. And so that's a totally different experience. So when I whip out my tuning fork and my singing bowls, you know, it's a different experience to have that with somebody.
Yes.
In person, and have them experience that in a totally different way. When you do things like this in the park, people look at you kind of weird, but it's okay.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much for being here today. Tell Mark I said hello. I never say that to you. And again, thanks for being here. I really